Hello, everyone. Today, we, the group members, are here to talk about vaccine inequity in India with the help of special emphasis on the anti COVID vaccine process seen in India. We would be discussing about this topic with the help of six different parts. Part 1 Introduction. Part 2 Impact of vaccine inequity. Part 3 Instances of vaccine inequity in India. Part 4 Evaluation of current situation. Part 5 Ways to overcome the disparity. And Part 6 Conclusion and references. Starting with introduction. Let me ask you one question. What is vaccine inequity? There is a combination of two different words in this: inequity and vaccine. Inequity means a lack of fairness or justice, and when used along with vaccines, it means biased or unequal distribution of vaccines in India. Now, the question is, why does it exist in India? There are several reasons due to which it has been seen in India, and the four major reasons out of the many are as follows. Point 1: the discriminatory prices of vaccines in India, as at some places it was being sold at 700 to 1000 rupees, and at some it was being given for free. Point 2: there is a huge disparity of income in India. Point 3: the vaccine facility was not available at every nook and corner of India, and so not everyone was able to get it easily. Number 4: the population of India is very huge, and due to the other factors, there were so many structural inequalities. By this, we understood what is vaccine inequity and why it is seen in India. Now, my friend Deepak will talk about the impact of the same.
Impact of unequal vaccine distribution and the added cost associated with it. The first point is the cycle of discrimination continues but now backed with poor future health. The cycle of discrimination which exists in India even today is clearly exhibited in case of vaccine administration as well. The plight of residents in rural areas, northeastern states and tribal regions are still the same. The vaccine rates in majority of the place in which the group stated above lives remains the same, and this would widen the structural inequality which is already in place. The number of public health care facilities continues to remain small. One of the major impact is immense losses of life, as there are less number of public health care facilities which is often used by poor people, less as compared to what is needed. For instance, in most of the northeastern states, the number of public healthcare facility is low, which is similar to the vaccination rates, which are also low. So the healthcare officials or the government could have started vaccination campaign earlier in these states, but they have gone for other states, as a result of which the structural imbalance tends to continue. The next impact is in terms of money. When any individual is affected by coronavirus, he or she needs to be given proper treatment in order to recover, but the treatment is often costly. In private hospitals, it is stated that it costs approximately 2,80,000 to 3,50,000 for a 14 days treatment, which overshoots the average income earned in a year by the average citizen. When comparing this scenario to the groups with limited vaccine coverage, the group are often earning less than the national average. So this is unlikely scenario for them to get cured. The last impact is increased cost for both the individuals as well as the society. In terms of individuals, the unvaccinated groups often have to spend a lot on insurance, healthcare, and are more prone of contracting diseases. So there are also high chances of death associated with it. When considered in a societal level, the world right now only prefers vaccinated employees, and those who are unvaccinated, especially those who belong to the affected groups, wouldn't be employable, which would affect the livelihood of these groups and eventually may even be termed as unfit for work. The vaccine discrimination wouldn't just cause the affected groups but also the government in terms of subsequent waves and burden in the budget.
Hello. So now we'll be talking about a few instances of vaccine inequity in India. The first instance is about the disparity in the vaccination process between the urban and rural areas. The vaccination process is moving at a rapid pace in the urban areas of several states. However, the rural population is being left behind in this process. In many states, such as Uttar Pradesh and Maharashtra, there have been large disparities in coverage in the rural areas compared to the urban districts of these states. The digitalization of the vaccine registration and the lack of awareness among the rural populations may be the reasons for this gap in the vaccination process. Also, the government has not come up with alternative solutions in order to make the rural population aware about the vaccine doses. Rural areas are also homes to several scheduled tribes. India's scheduled tribes are being left behind in the vaccination process. A majority of the bottom 50 districts in terms of vaccine coverage have sizable tribal populations. There are large disparities in coverage in districts like Palghar in Maharashtra and Sonbhadra in Uttar Pradesh, which have tribal dominated blocks compared to coverage in urban, non tribal districts of these states. Now, Suyash will take over.
So Abhiram just talked about the disparity between urban and rural areas. Now I'm going to talk about the gender gap found in vaccine distribution. Unfortunately, gender gap is not something new in India, but it has also found its way in vaccine distribution. Various studies and data collected shows that many districts showing good vaccine coverage have worse vaccine sex ratio than their actual sex ratio. The worst performing regions in this regard are Central Delhi at the top, followed by Gurugram in Haryana and Gautam Buddha Nagar in Uttar Pradesh. On average, in 100 men, only 62 women have received vaccination benefits in these regions. The bottom 25 districts with the worst vaccine sex ratio have an average of 76 vaccinated women among 100 vaccinated men. K. Sujata Rao, former Secretary of Health and Family Welfare, said that inadequate efforts to reach to women could be the cause of the gender gap. Patriarchal society also plays a big role in this. Many women somewhat fear seeking proper healthcare, especially women in rural areas and poor families. Also, less education of girls lead them to having no awareness about the importance of getting vaccinated. Many don't have access to digital gadgets or even the internet to register themselves. So, special actions should be taken to get such women access to vaccines at their doorstep or workplaces, and also awareness should be spread with a persuasive motive. In the past, to address the gender gap in vaccination, similar steps have been taken for women who face various cultural barriers and while seeking healthcare, and that should be continued.
Despite crossing a landmark, the stark reality is quite different to the data being marketed as an achievement. Inequitable access to healthcare and the internet continue to remain in society, causing more issues in the vaccination effort of the nation. The process of registration on the CoWIN platform involves requiring a registered mobile number and also a proper network connection to be able to access the vaccine certificate after the doses are taken. The digital divide and lack of access to healthcare has hampered the registration and accessibility to vaccines in rural India. The walk in slots, on the other hand, simply are not equipped to handle the large amount of crowds that come to take their shot. Poor awareness amongst the tribal communities on the importance of taking the vaccine has resulted in a sizable population being left behind, leaving society vulnerable at large. While the situation needs an administration overhaul to overcome structural inequalities, the government can definitely increase awareness through door to door campaigns in tribal areas. Using incentives like extra ration, free COVID treatment in public healthcare centers, the hesitant population can get influence to take their shot. The digital divide will unfortunately still remain due to the centralized process of the COVID registration and certification process. But the government could encourage local network operators and cyber cafes to help locals get better access to the entire process. Structural inequalities exist in every society, and in a country like India, it aggravates the issues we face due to poor administration. The need to revamp the healthcare system and the digital infrastructure to ease access of essentials like vaccines for all persists. Throughout the process, the gender gap and the patriarchal norm have hampered efficiency, and it is imperative to look beyond age old values and ensure we use science and logic to help increase access and affordability of vaccines to all. I hope you found this presentation informative. Thank you, and this is Akshay
Ayush.
Deepak, Abhiram,
Suyash.
signing off.